Today I'd like to announce a release candidate for Singularity Registry server. Specifically, we have a new plugin for Google Cloud Build and Cloud Storage that will use GitHub as an integration. So for example, if I am a user, it means that I can store my recipes in this GitHub repo and then connect it to the registry and build on any updates. And so if you're thinking this sounds a lot like Singularity Hub, you're right. Although the main difference is that Singularity Hub has a custom queue that uses Google Compute. This is just using Google Cloud Build, which also has some awesome advantages. So let's, without further ado, step through what that would look like for the user. The first thing I might want to do is log in. Notice that I've configured the registry to log in with GitHub. I can now go to my container collections, decide that I want to create a new collection, and traditionally I would enter a name and then I could push to it, or I could perhaps upload in the web interface. But this time there's this new button here where I can connect GitHub for Google Build, and what it will do is then find all of my different repos. I can find Hello Registry, select it, and then submit it. And so what happens on the back end at this point, if we go back to our repo, is that when you look at settings and webhooks, we've just created this new webhook that will basically ping the registry every time there is an update to the repository. And so if we go back to the repository, refresh the page, now we see that we have 2 builds queued for this particular repository. So you may be asking, actually I didn't show you this, so you're probably not, why only 2 builds in the case that in fact there were 1, 2, I think 3, 4 Singularity files? So the answer is that just like Singularity Hub, the tags for your recipes or for your containers are based on the extension of this file. So this file, by way of not having a tag, is going to have the latest tag. And if we go in here, the only other one that's really different is 14.04. So what Singularity Registry Server is going to do is it's going to find the latest or most recently updated of these Singularity files and build that one to be latest, and then it's also going to build the second one. So if we go back to the server, so the page automatically refreshes. One of our builds just finished, and in fact, once we click here, we would actually go, given that we have permissions to this project. So if I'm a user, so we'll see what it is right now. If I'm a user, I don't have permission to view it, but let's say that I'm the person running the registry and I need to get a log from my user to say, hey, what the heck went wrong? It didn't work. All of that is here, the different build steps, and then exactly how the container is built. It's really easy to get to. So let's go back to our server. Where did you go? Looks like the other one is still building. So once we're done building, we have all the same things that the regular Singularity Registry has, such as looking at a recipe, having a URI, you can delete it. In collection settings, again, you can add and remove contributors. If you're an owner, you can get a cool badge. Also the danger zone, you can make it private or delete a collection. There's also the same tools that we offered before, specifically these different tree maps. We'll take a look quickly. We have a lot of fat containers here for container sizes. There's, so a little bit of difference here is with the API. The API now has a much nicer interface to kind of explore the different endpoints. And if you really liked the traditional Swagger endpoint, which is what the original where did my server? Here it is. That is still provided, along with this RESTful schema that is Django RESTful, if you're familiar with that. So let's jump back quickly. Gosh, where is my documentation? There we go. So I want to quickly step through what it means if you're actually deploying this. It's pretty simple. I've made it as simple as I can. It comes down to uncommenting this plugin here for Google Build, and then identifying a bunch of secrets. So for example, you'd obviously need to identify your Google application credentials, your project, And then if we scroll down here, it shows you how you can actually get the credentials to your server if it's on Google Cloud. Then there's different variables that kind of influence the behavior of your registry, such as if you want to save build caches for speedier builds, if you want to set a build limit for the number of active and concurrent builds. You can very easily adjust the Singularity version, and the reason is because the Google Cloud build is using a Docker base that corresponds to this particular tag, so you can change this on the fly if you like for your users. You need to specify a storage bucket name, and I recommend that you do this in advance so you can just be sure that you can obtain that unique name. You can also set a build expiration in seconds. This seems to be a reasonable amount, 8 hours. You can also decide if you want your containers to be private. And so once you've done those setup and you've deployed your registry, you can pull containers using Singularity Registry Client, but you can also pull it just using Singularity. So let me find my terminal here. Hello. Okay, so if we remember, there was a container. Let's go back to the main page. Let's try to pull a container. So there was a container called Hello Registry. Oh, and now both of them are done. There's latest and 14.04 tags. So let's do Singularity pull. Now, just like Singularity Hub, this uses that same API, so we're going to be pulling from shub. So we're going to say containers.page, that's the main URI, and then Singularity Hub, hello, registry, and let's pull latest. Oh, and it was so tiny and small that it just pulled like that. Taco, taco, taco. And so that, folks, is mostly it. I invite you to actually use and test out this registry. It's going to be in this testing mode for about a week. And any issues that you need to submit, you can put at, let's see, Singularity Hub, github.com. Come on, Vanessa. Singularity Hub S registry, and then just post them here to issues. I'll write up a post so that you can very easily find this. And without further ado, I'm looking forward to your feedback, and this guy will be open for you to test and to play with for probably about 8 days. Dinosaur out.